Today's video is one that I've been stoked to make ever since I concepted it in the shower about a week and a half ago. The shower is always where the best thoughts happen. It's a little different from what we've had on the channel, but it's a new year, new content. I want to start to branch out and, get a feel for what you guys want to see. And if this project goes well, there's definitely going to be more of it coming in the future. In this box, I have a few things. I have a gold iPhone 5S, as well as a space gray iPhone 5S, some tools, and some parts. So, what are we doing with them all? Well, I've always been a fan of the gold iPhone 5S. The gold looks nice. It's the first time they did a gold phone. It really struck a chord with me back in 2013. But I've always wondered, what if it was black and gold instead of white and gold? I fired up my Photoshop, made a couple renders, and holy hell, it looked great. So, today we are bringing that vision to life with these two phones and all of these parts. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna try my best to keep everything visible in all of these cameras, but I make no promises, so just bear with me. So this iPhone, the gold one, the one that we're going to be transplanting parts into, is iCloud lock. It's broken. It ain't gonna work no more. So this is the host. This is what we're going to be replacing all the parts into. This is the donor, the space gray 32 gig 5S. It's got a broken screen, which I didn't anticipate having to replace, but the first one that I bought canceled my order, so I had to get another one. We also have a spare battery, because I'm sure after 9 years, their batteries are not super great. The replacement display, and then the windows, the glass windows on the back, we're going to be replacing the white ones with the black ones. And then I have these tools, mainly for the pentalobe bit that my iFixit kit does not have for whatever reason. So let's get started, I guess. What we're going to start with is we're going to start pulling the parts out of the gold 5S. I'm going to try to keep everything organized in my iFixit kit here. Not a sponsor, by the way, but if iFixit is watching, hi, hit me up, email in the description. I would love to talk to you guys. So now that those are out, what we do is we put a suction cup on the display. We start to lift up, so we're going to pull. Okay, going to pull up on the display so we can sneak a pick in here and then pry it up gently. Glass is glass and glass breaks. You don't want to go too far in because you might separate the glass from the display, and that's kind of not what we want to do here. You just want to kind of work it around gently. Do not pull up immediately once you have some leeway, because there is a cable that if you break, you're kind of SOL and you can't get it back. So right here, that cable is the Touch ID cable right here. It's usually under a bracket. Mine isn't for whatever reason, but that's okay. That just means there's one less thing I have to do. Once you pull that off, you can open the phone up a bit more. And now, what you need is a small Phillips head, and you want to unscrew the bracket over the battery. Remove the bracket, and then disconnect the battery itself. Next, we take the display. Remove the bracket. Now there are 3 flex cables you have to take off. One for the display, one for the camera, I would imagine one for the earpiece. I don't know, not a rocket scientist. But now that the display is out, this is what you should be seeing. A little roomy in here, if I'm gonna be honest, compared to some of the newer phones. Yeah, big empty space up in here for the camera module. Next, we're going to take out the logic board. So we're gonna pop the SIM tray, and there's a mix of a few different types of screws here. So it's the top one right here. Sometimes it helps if you get a pair of tweezers or something in there to help pull it out. You got another Phillips right here. They are different sizes, so do not get them confused. Otherwise, you might end up breaking your phone when you go to put it back together. And then come the annoying ones, standoff bits. So if you don't have an iFixit kit like I do, I didn't even know this was a thing until like 3 days ago. The iFixit kit comes with a screw tip for the standoffs. If you don't have that, you can use just a regular small, super small flathead. There's 4 standoff screws we gotta get rid of. There's one here, one here, one here, and then one here. With that done, there are a couple flex cables we gotta get rid of. One up here for the camera. if you want to, you can actually pull the camera out. You don't need to, you can if you want to. One here, and then there's a tiny one right here, the antenna wire. And now you should be able to stick a spudger between the battery and the logic board and pry up a little bit. And then once you pry it up, you should be able to just kind of shimmy it out. Don't yank it out though, because on the back there is another antenna wire. Just unclip that. And there you go. That is your iPhone 5S. So now we get to do it again with the space gray one. I'll be right back. I'm losing a fight to a 10-year-old smartphone. I'll be back. Okay, 6 minutes later and I have won the battle. So, the little bracket you want to pull up on, that is protecting your Touch ID cable. Same thing, we're gonna remove the bracket on the battery and disconnect it. I'm going to remove the bracket over the display connectors. Disconnect display connectors. Now this one, as I mentioned before, has a couple extra steps we gotta do because right here, it's all shattered. So we're gonna put the display off to the side for a second, and we're going to take out all the screws. Get our jimmy tool between the battery and the logic board. Lift her up, shake her out, flip her over, disconnect the ribbon cable, and there we go. 2 iPhone 5S's right here. So for the space gray housing, I think we're all done. Now we can turn our attention to the old space gray screen. So first, what we're gonna take off is the Touch ID. This is, as I mentioned previously, linked to your logic board, and if you put the wrong one in the wrong screen or the wrong board with the wrong fingerprint reader, they're not gonna work. Do not mix these up. Do not damage any part of this connector. Push up gently on the button to separate the adhesive. And after that's done, you want to very carefully, again, pry the cable off of the screen assembly, just like that. I'm gonna go to the top of the display. I actually haven't pre-gamed for this one, so I don't know what I'm doing. So now, what I'm gonna do, while all the parts are out of the gold housing, and I have very minimal opportunity to damage it, we are going to attempt, with my super scientific heat gun, that is definitely not a hairdryer, we're going to attempt to remove the top and bottom glass windows from the gold housing, so we can replace them with the top and bottom black windows for the space gray housing. So I'm gonna start with the bottom, I guess. Alrighty, 2 hours, 1 meal, 1 hammer, and a couple hundred glass shards later, I have removed the top and bottom glass pieces. I'm about to put on the last bottom one right now. I also took out the battery. Get off of me. I also took out the battery, so that is gone as well. Now comes the fun part of, did I remove all of the adhesive? Press it into place. That looks hot. That looks hot. I love that. Oh man, it's better in person. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. Okay, next step is we're gonna try to reassemble everything, and hopefully everything goes well. Fingers crossed. We're in the home stretch. This is it. Okay, we're going to start with the logic board. Plug in the antenna, the logic board underneath that little spot. Pull up all the connectors so we don't sandwich anything. Now we start to reassemble. There's always one that isn't magnetized, and that's so stupid. Okay, next up is battery replacement. Here's a fun fact for you. The inside of the battery of an iPhone 5S smells like bananas. Useless info that you didn't need to know. The more you know. This is it. This is the home stretch. Now, we grab our display, seat our connectors, and we get our bracket. Yeah, there's always one that isn't magnetized. Why? Why are you like that? Okay, now before we seal everything back up, just going to make sure that everything is good and works. Here we go, here's the moment of truth. Oh, ho ho, she turns on. Everything seems to work. Touch ID still good. Touch ID still works. Okay, so now what we do, we're gonna shut her off. We're going to disconnect Touch ID once again, so we can open the display up. I'm going to put the bracket back in. Reconnect Touch ID. And we seat the display into the frame. Push it down along the corners. SIM tray is in. Now just for the pentalobes, and we are almost done. Pentalobes are in. Grab a screen protector, peel off the plastic. Oh, so good. See if we can get it to come back up with the 1% of battery that it had. Now would you look at that? That is the black and gold iPhone that I wanted for a long, long time. I love it so much. I think I'm gonna start doing more of these projects, but that is gorgeous. We'll get some B-roll going. This is, man, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for the iPhone 5S. This was my gateway drug. This was the phone that I started really caring about phones with. Remember, it was 7th grade and the phone came out and the gold was just amazing, and iOS 7 looked so new, so different. Touch ID was like one of the coolest things ever, and my autism kicked in and said, I need to know every last bit of info about this phone. So there you go, the custom black and gold iPhone 5S. I hope you guys enjoyed, because I really did. Be sure to keep an eye out for more content like this coming, because there's more coming. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.